All right, so in this section, Betty, we're going to go take a look at the Ben and Barry on Football Facebook page and just give some quick responses to some of the things that are on our page. Ladies and gentlemen, you can get there at BNBOF on Facebook. Here we have the current seeding for the playoffs. Any particular comments you want to make on this seeding? On the AFC side, we got Patriots, the Ravens. Then we got Kansas City and the Steelers down there. And then at the top, what do we have at the top here? I got to get that right. Houston still hanging around, stinging up the place with Buffalo and the Cowboys and the Seahawks.
Okay, so do me a favor. You're sharing that. Yeah. Leave it. Can you scroll it like up, like just a smidge? Okay. So I made a statement that after week 14, I was going to make not necessarily a prediction, but kind of state that the top 10 teams in our power rankings had an excellent chance of all making the playoffs. I'm looking at this now, and there's a couple teams on here that I don't believe are going to make it. Even though they're bracketed now at this point, I really don't think that they're going to make it. I like the Vikings' chances. I love the Saints. I'm pretty sure the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East. And scroll me down a little bit there. Yeah, okay. The Seahawks are going to have to watch it because the Rams are looming. Okay? The Niners, I'm sure, will win their division. They should be fine. Green Bay will win their division. They should be fine. They'll get buys. The Patriots and the Ravens will win their divisions. They will get buys. So they're all good. Over on the other side, I like the Bills to beat the Texans. If the Texans make it, they have the Titans breathing down their necks. And then
that's strange you don't see the Titans on here. All the stuff we've been saying about the Titans being at the top of everything.
Yeah, I think the Texans might have the tiebreaker on them or something. It's close.
Okay.
And they play each other this week. I put my stuff away. I think they do. So
Houston, Tennessee. Tennessee has a bias plus in their favor, 4.7.
Exactly. So this will probably be changed next week. So Seahawks got to be careful. Rams could overtake them. Texans have to be careful. Titans could overtake them. And who's down the bottom here? Saints are good. Vikings are good. Kansas City is good. And the Steelers.
The Steelers are in it.
Should be good.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. Who in the AFC is threatening?
Is this one of those years where the NFC and the NFC is again better than the AFC just overall? Because I think when I looked at record-wise, it seemed as if there were more 10-2, 10-3 type teams in the AFC than there were. Excuse me, in the NFC than there were in the AFC.
Well, let's look at it this way. Take the top 3 seeds in the NFC. Niners, Packers, Saints. Top 3 in the AFC. Ravens, Patriots, Chiefs. What do you think?
Well, as I'm pulling it up here just to take a quick look, and you're kind of basically right. Ravens 11-2, Patriots 10-2. So those are the 10-win teams for the AFC. Niners are 11-2, Packers are 10-3, Saints are 10-3, Seahawks are 10-3. So there's 4 in the
4 10-win teams. Okay, all right. So yes, the first thing you said, is this one of those years where the NFC could be better record-wise? When you look at it, the answer would be yes. But then you could look at it the other way too. Bottom half of the NFC might be weaker than the bottom half of the AFC. Therefore, you have more 10-win teams in the NFC. So,
The next thing I want to share, I was talking to one of my members for my services, and they're not big football fans, but they're big in the church.
okay.
And they were like, what's this deal with the Hail Mary pass?
Are they Catholic?
Christian.
Oh, okay.
You know? And he knew enough about the Hail Mary. He knew the prayer, you know, and all
Well,
of that.
then he must be Catholic.
Well, but I had to go back in my mind and remember, and I knew I could explain in general, and I said, okay, let me go back and think of how this all started. And that's why I took a look at this and put this article in there, because it takes you all the way back to that pass from Roger Staubach. And they asked Roger, they said, when you threw that pass, did you think, what did you think? And he said, I don't know. I just did a Hail Mary and said a Hail Mary and left it at that.
Roger Staubach coined the phrase Hail Mary. So yes, he started that, and we've been saying it ever since. And Drew Pearson caught the ball, and Vikings fans will still say he pushed off, and I'll still say one of your stinking fans threw an orange at him. And remember that? You remember that, do you?
Threw an orange at
if
Drew
you
Pearson?
Watch the replay of that play, as soon as he catches the ball, you'll see an orange come flying out of the stands.
What?
Yeah. And then he just tiptoes into the end zone. Another crushing defeat for the perfect.
That catch was amazing, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was absolutely crazy. Okay. Next up, let's see if I can start this over, and I'm going to try to add some sound to this. Come on, move over. Move. There you go. And some sound.
Stop. Okay, take this card. Look at it. Show the camera. Show whoever you want. Doesn't matter. All right, now look. I just made this up right before I got here, so hopefully this will be cool. You guys know what the card is? Yeah. All right, put it right here. All right, here's what we do. I'm going to spring these in the air. You're going to catch one card because you're a receiver, so I'm hoping that you're actually going to catch the card you picked. All right, what was it?
Randy feeling pressure.
Shoot these up. Just catch one. Anyone you want. Okay, that's not it. That's okay. Check this out. That football was right there. Did a card land underneath it? Underneath the football? No. Shoot. What was the card you picked? The two heart. Let me see that ball. Look, we're celebrating 100 years. You hear something inside? You picked it 2 heart. Actually go through here. Come on, door ball side. We'll go ahead and find a ball in here. I want you to reach inside of this. Hold on. Reach inside of there. Pull it apart. We're going to find a card inside. Save you, Susie Colbert.
That guy's good, man.
He is good, isn't he?
Well, he was on Who's Got Talent or something. He was on shows.
Yeah.
He's really good.
I mean, he's entertaining in and of itself. So, I had to share that when I saw that, and everybody was like,
Yeah, it was cool. He's like, I just made this up on the way here. Like,
you know what I mean? He tears the ball, and it's in the ball. It's like, how do you do that?
Amazing.
How did that come together where you flipped all those cards in the air? You had Moss catch one, and that's the one that's in the ball.
No, the one he caught, he goes, oh, that's not it.
I know. Hey, he sets him up. You know who my other favorite musician is? Carbonara.
I love Carbonara Effect.
The Carbonara Effect is the most hilarious thing. The lies he tells people, the stories he's making up as he's going along,
That takes a lot of imagination in itself to set up the scenarios that he sets up, the care that he takes to do that. And those people are just
mouth open. Their mouth open like, the one I think was so funny, he had the thing where he it's like a spout and you put it in the orange, and then he filled up like 4 glasses of orange juice with like 1 orange. And the people are like, Oh,
You're thinking like, that's not physically possible.
you know,
Just
this can't be happening. Yeah, and I'm, so yeah, I'm a big Carbonara fan. All right, I had to ask the question because I watched this show, right?
love the show.
First things first, I'm sitting there, I'm looking for my man Chris Carter. I'm looking day after day after day after day. He ain't there. And I'm like, okay, what happened? I go to do some research and I find out he's out. Apparently, when they were picking people for some of the football game shows, I guess like Monday night or whatever, and he
Yes.
wasn't being considered, he must have complained or something of that nature really loudly. And next thing you know, he out altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, how you going to have first things first without Chris Carter? He is they're bringing in other football players. Normally those guys would just be guests, but they're not Chris Carter, man.
No, I really like Chris Carter on this show. I like Chris Carter anyway, but I think he was really good on this show. He was really good with Nick Wright. It's important on shows like that the two guys kind of have, a repartee, so to speak, kind of like us. You know what I mean? So I thought they were a good fit.
Nobody to rein Nick Wright in right now.
Yeah.
Making all types of extreme proclamations.
And that's the problem. He's now carrying the show, not out of need, but just because that's him. He's that dude. And they don't have anybody to temper him. You're absolutely right. Not that he's bad or he's wrong, because I love him. I think he's great. He's super opinionated. You know what I mean? He stands by his statements, and he'll argue you down. And he makes sense. So that's cool. But I just think him and Chris Carter were a great pair. And without Chris Carter being there, the show is just not the same. They'll find somebody else eventually. But it won't.
I'm hearing that they might even go after a woman as an actual commentator, as opposed to how they normally have the women hosting the show.
Yeah, usually they're the mediator.
They're the mediator, but they're actually thinking about bringing in, which would be interesting relative to football, who that might be, as because it's obviously not going to be a former player, at least not in the NFL. So it'll be interesting to see who they bring.
She's going to have to be good, man. She's going to have to be good, because Chris Carter has a lot of contacts. Chris Carter talks to a lot of people, and his insight was he's very well informed about what's going on in the league. So yeah, that's going to be, I don't know.
Well, congratulations to AD, 14,000 rushing yards. He hit that number. He's there now, and I think he's going to be starting in the next game. So he's going to have 14,001. Congratulations, AD.
He'll get more than 1 yard, I'm sure. Well, I don't know, but I hope he does. Yeah, surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. What can you say, man? Guy's had a great career. To be on the downside, he's still having a really good season.
Yeah.
He's better. He's far better than mediocre, and far better than guys that are like Frank Gore is just about done. If they can squeeze another season out of Frank, it'll be a miracle.
I'm afraid for Frank. I'm like, okay, dude, they started listing the surgeries and things that he's had. He's practically the $6 million man.
Yeah.
The way they put him back together, top and bottom. So Frank, dude, I'm sure you got enough coin squirreled away, but Frank doesn't get a lot of the endorsements or that type of commercial money and all of that. He's a very quiet, reserved, in the back guy, but former Niner. So, I'm always rooting for him.
Hall
all
of
right.
Famer? Hall of Famer?
Yeah, because he's got the numbers.
Okay.
He's up there with, he's right there with all the Hall of Famers. He's got the numbers. So,
okay.
No doubt about it. All right. I'm going to come up with this, and then if you have anything, last words. We like to end on a good note. We like to show a positive spin on what the NFL is doing. And this past weekend, they kicked off the My Cause, My Cleats campaign. This is the website, My Cause, My Cleats, where hundreds of players showcase their causes with custom cleats during all Week 14 games for the NFL My Cause, My Cleats campaign. Okay, so that was with Week 14, and everybody got a chance. There's lots of foundations and nonprofits, that these players have, and things that they're doing in the community. And then some of them have very personal stories.
Yes.
Family members with diseases, cancers, and some of the, more exotic diseases that need a lot more research. So My Cause, My Cleats,
Yeah, I think that kind of it's one thing when you find yourself having a platform where you don't necessarily have to be a political or be real vocal about social issues and all that stuff, and still be able to help somebody. Okay, and if it's you had a relative who had a particular disease or something that really hit home with your family, and you've decided to champion that cause and try to help others who maybe had that same disease, or if you're doing something for your hometown, not necessarily, I think they all kind of do a little something in whatever city that they play in. But a lot of these guys go back home to where they grew up, and they donate money to their high schools, or they, maybe champion a children's hospital in their hometown, or a boys and girls club or something like that. It's always something that has some sort of personal thing attached to it for them. And I think that regardless of whether it is or it isn't, that it's a really great thing. We're talking about a vast majority of the players in this league who either came up from humble beginnings or basically came up with nothing. And overnight, some of these guys become millionaires. And no, they're not all perfect. And, a lot of people you hear about squandering their money and things like that. But I think the majority of these guys are out here really trying to help and do some good. And that should be celebrated.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, we do have a Twitter account. We do have an Instagram account. You'll see some of that information on the tail end of the video, but we're about to wrap this puppy up. Any last words, Mr. Dickerson?
Go Knowles.
Ooh, succinct. Everybody have a good night. Ben and Barry on football. We're out.